Morning, everyone.
Morning.
Thank you for making it on a Saturday morning. I know there's a lot of things to do. Everyone has families and kids and a lot of items to take care of on the weekends due to the fact that on a Friday and during the week you can't. So just want to thank you in advance for your participation. So Jen and I are in the communication committee. Jennifer's right here. Our goal is to make sure that we have a clear and directed communication going to the community with all the means that are at our disposal. And whatever we have available, that's what we'll do. Please note that we suggest ideas and also communication tactics in conjunction with the superintendent to the Board of Education. So all board members take responsibility of the outcome, whether it's positive or negative. And the purpose of this presentation is to be as open and trustworthy as possible with the community by providing a clear and directed communication of the financial state of District 80. We have been waiting a long time to promote, to share this information, the financial situation, and we want to be as transparent as possible because it is it is for you to know our financial situation. Our hope is that we will continue to provide updates as such, not just from the communication committee, but also we're hoping that other committees within the school, we can do at least once a quarter, have a meeting and share our financial situation. Also wanted to make sure that there's certain questions that we have the answers to and certain questions that we do not have the answers to or we cannot answer due to the ethic policies that we follow as board members. Please, no political conversation, no referendum talk, as we cannot tell anyone how to vote per our ethic codes at the Board of Education. So at this time, I'd like to introduce Dr. O'Malley, who will speak and give the presentation about the better understanding of the Norridge School District 80 financial situation. Thank you.
Thank you for being here on a Saturday morning. There is some coffee cake, if you so choose, as well as some water that was donated. We did not pay for it, so nothing here was paid for, because I know that this young man is giving us a free service by donating his YouTube video too. So thank you, Adam, once again for recording the presentation, and we encourage you to be at all of our meetings. We really appreciate it. So. Some of you, this information will look very familiar, and for some of you it will look very new, but there was a brochure that was sent not too long ago stating that we had $9 million, which is true. It wasn't 10, it was 9. We had $9 million in our reserves, and we spent it down over time. And what I've explained is there's 3 big reasons why we spent the money down, why we spent the reserves. Number one, we had some construction issues. We had building issues that needed to be mitigated over a 4-year period. So we started at 9, we spent down 2.4 for building-based issues. We had special ed issues to the tune of about $1.3 million. And when I talk about special ed, you have students with special needs that have in their IEPs specific information or specific practices that we have to follow. With that said, we have to make sure that we're meeting those expectations. And there's going to be an increased expenses. More specifically, our expenses increased because we were sending more and more of our kids, what I refer to as we are outsourcing. We were sending more and more of our kids out to LASIK or other schools. And what we've done over the past few years is we've been bringing them back into the district, and that's actually resulted in savings, and you'll actually find that out at a later date. Additionally, our student enrollment increased by about 13.7%. What that means is we had to add teachers over this 4-year period. We added 9 teachers for regular ed, 2 for special ed, and so that had an additional cost. We had also increased our supplies, materials, as well as our contractual obligation. And then lastly, the difference over the 4-year period spent it down to the $4.6 million. That is not current. That was actually passed. We actually have another number that we will be updating because our financial report has been approved. But for our purposes, you can see that's how the money was spent down. So once again, it was building-based issues, special education, and we had a 13.7% increase in the number of students enrolling at both Giles and Lee. We've implemented efficiencies over the past year and a half or 2 years that I've been here. And so some people will call them strategic plan. I'd call them goals. We've put 6 goals in place. With that being said, we've put in place enrollment projections. We've been doing it for the last 2 years. We have a contract with RSP to do that. And we're very certain that our enrollment will be pretty stable over the next 2 to 3 years. We have financial projections that we've done. We're watching very closely. In fact, we're going to have our budget done sooner than ever before. We're going to actually have it prior to the first quarter of the year. We're going to have it done at the end of the year. Facility needs assessment. We've actually completed the facility needs, and there's many, many needs that need to be addressed. And many of you know there's a report that's online. I encourage you to go online and take a look at it. Technology replacement cycle, we've actually postponed that. We've actually completed it. We have the capital development plan, and then instructional. We put in place our curricular review cycle. And with that being said, we're not adding expenses to our curriculum. We're at a point in time right now where we're staying with what we have, and we're just basically putting the monies toward whatever subject is being reviewed. So for example, in the first year we looked at special ed, our money for special ed programs went towards special ed. In the second year we're looking at PE, physical education. In the third year we're going to look at social studies and so on and so forth. So the money's basically following the program, and we're going to be updating our curriculum or enhancing it based on the monies that we have. There's no additional cost. We already have established fiscal policies. They're in place. I identified possible efficiencies, which were ongoing. That's one of the reasons we went to the grade centers, because it's an efficiency. It results in savings or monies that we can save. And then determine short and long range fiscal solutions, as well as implement short and long range fiscal solutions. So there's a determination, there's also the implementation. This is where we are right now. We had in place a 2-year budget reduction plan, and one of the things that I have to be very clear on is the state requires us to do a reduction plan if your reserves start to come below a certain marker that's been predetermined. We're in the process of a 3-year reduction plan. We're in the second year. That's why we actually had to reduce by $750,000. The reductions resulted in us going to grade centers, consolidating our athletics. We were able to keep the art, we were able to keep the music, we were able to keep the kindergarten, as well as the world language. We do not have industrial arts for next year. And so keep that in mind. That's one of the things, that's one of the reasons we went to the grade centers. By doing so, we're going to be able to save $750,000. That's in the first year. So if the referendum doesn't pass, we're going to have to take another look at this, and there's a potential to reduce another $850,000. So it's $750,000 in the first year, $850,000 in the second year. And to be clear, that's 18-19, 17-18, and 18-19. So for 17-18, that's a grade centers, 18-19. Then we'd have to take a second look, assuming that there was a positive outcome of the referendum. This is the tax rate of Norridge School District 80 when you compare it to the average of some of our neighboring schools. And we did not cherry pick our neighboring schools. We've used the same schools over and over and over for comparison purposes. When we say that, we look at Rhodes, we look at Manheim, we look at Rosemont, which is incredibly low. We know why it's low. They have a huge industry, a huge commercial property, which we do not have. We're an advantage because we have the mall that's located in Norridge, but we do not have the same commercial body as Rosemont. But Franklin Park, Union Ridge, Schiller Park, Penoyer, and we're second to last in this comparative group, second to last. Continuing on, this is the operating expense per pupil. So this is what we spend on a pupil basis. We're at $10,140 on average. It's $12,634. So our neighbors are spending about, greater than $1,000 more on their students to educate them. And what does that look like when we break it down? Once again, Rosemont is one of the highest when it comes to operating expense per pupil, followed by Rhodes, Manheim, Franklin Park, Union Ridge. And in this particular instance, we're third from the bottom. Third from the bottom. And we always use the same comparison. Even in our park scores, we use the same comparison. What does the tax rate breakdown look like on a $100,000 home? So the estimated tax impact would be $8.17 per month, or $98 per year per 100,000 of a home's actual value. Per 100,000. We're required by law to present it on the ballot as per 100,000. We cannot extrapolate that. For our purposes here today, we've actually extrapolated because we had a committee that came forward and made a determination that on a $250,000 home in Norridge, because that better represents our population, that would be a better way to represent it. So if you break it down on a $250,000 home, it's $20.42 per month, or $245 per year. And what that does, that increase allows us to maintain our programs and keep our buildings and keep our nurses, etc. So those are a couple things that we're able to keep. So how do we come to that determination? Why did we put the $1.25 million or the 98 per 100,000 on the ballot? Well, we had two committees that got together and they vetted this. So we had the Ad Hoc Deficit Reduction Planning Committee, and then you had a Superintendent's Task Force, two separate committees. And some of the things that they came forward with is that it has to be reasonable with respect to our homeowners. It has to be below a certain benchmark. And over time, we're going to have to take care of the buildings as well as our operating, which is our students. And so we decided, the board decided we were going to move forward with one question because we wanted to build up some momentum by having a positive outcome. So two community committees came together. Current proposal focuses only on operating costs, not the buildings. There's no money to be allocated to the buildings. And the tax impact on homeowners is approximately 1/4 of the previous proposal. So it's 1/4 of what we proposed before. And here's what here are the specific programs that we were able to keep. Art, music, and PE programs for all of our students. World language programs for all of our students in grades 5, 6, 7, and 8. Maintain reasonable class sizes in grades K through 8. There's a misnomer that our class sizes increase. That's not true. What we've done is we have a special ed teacher dedicated to each grade level. So if we were to include that at each grade level, your class sizes would be at or near the current class sizes. They'd be at or near the current class sizes. And I want to be very clear because this was asked at the most recent meeting and people said the classes are increased. That's not true. If you include the special ed teacher, that is not a true statement. They're at or near the current class sizes. Maintain exemplary band program, which in my opinion is second to none. All-day kindergarten program for all of our students. And implement state standard required curriculum. So we're required to put in place a curriculum. So we're able to keep all these that are listed here. And here's some of the things that we're doing, some of our goals for the future. And when I say a gifted program, we're implementing a flexible scheduling. And when I say a flexible scheduling, it means that our second graders, if they're testing out, let's say, for example, on the MAP score, if they're testing it at a higher standard, if that second grader is able to read at a third or fourth grade level, we're going to allow them to do that. We're going to be able to create in our schedule one of two things. We're either going to differentiate the instruction in the classroom, or we're going to allow them to walk down the hallway and be with their peers. So that's one of the things we're looking at implement. For 5, 6, 7, 8, it's going to be slightly different. But if we have kids that are in advanced Spanish classes, for example, we're going to look to make a relationship or form a relationship with the high school where the kids can walk over to the high school and quite possibly take a class. Or they can take a class online because we have the computers, we have the one-on-one initiative. That's just to put in context what gifted means, because some people think gifted that you're going to have the bluebirds, the buzzers, and the eagles. That's not what it is. We're going to meet the kids where they're at, and we're going to work with them where they're at, as opposed to basically categorizing them into 1 of 3 categories, which we don't want to do. ELL and K through 8 programs in the classroom. Currently, we pull the kids out. What we want to do is service the kids in the classroom with their peers. It's very similar to what we're doing with special ed. Consolidation of services. What we're doing with the high school, in my opinion, is unbelievable. They actually have a director that's going to be helping us to work on our science curriculum as well as our math curriculum.